welcome. Congratulations, you're the first one today. A heads up, I don't know how long this is gonna last. My phone's been kind of breaking down all day. So we're here for now. We might crap out very soon. I went out on a walk today. I went to the thrift store. I bought some dinner. I know, I bought some dinner, guys. So I will be eating my bought dinner while I meal prep. But my phone, as you know, is a Pixel 2 XL. It's really old. I've been using it all day. The camera stopped working. The YouTube app already crashed twice. So if we cut off, my phone might be like done for today. But we're gonna try to cook if my burner decides to come on. And I bought some Farmer's Market kale. I'll be blanching the kale first, and then we're gonna be Instant Potting it with a lot of garlic. I bought. So here's my meal cost rundown for y'all who are budget conscious. I bought a sleeve of garlic for $1, probably really cheap garlic from China, but it was $1, so I grabbed it. I don't buy it very often. I bought 2 sweet potatoes for 80 cents. This was 59 cents a pound this week at my supermarket. So again, just grabbing things as they come on sale. I bought 3 huge apples for $2. It's been a while since I bought supermarket apples, but I couldn't make it to the farmer's market today. So I bought them. This one has a huge gash on it, so I want to eat it tonight. The kale was $4 for the whole bunch. And then I bought like 2 pounds of beets for $5. I'm not going to cook the beets today. I'll probably Instant Pot them tomorrow and pickle them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. Say hi to Memo. He's there for now, just stalking. So I'm going to be blanching the kale so that it shrinks a little bit, so that it fits in the Instant Pot better. Then I'm going to be sauteing the garlic in the Instant Pot with some canned sardines packed in oil. So I don't feel like using my extra fancy olive oil in the Instant Pot because I feel like that kind of just eviscerates all the flavanols and whatnot that's supposed to be good. So I'm just going to be making use of the canned fish oil. I know that canned fish oil might be really strong for some people's taste, but since a lot of people have been saying, hey, can you do more budget eats? This is kind of my way of doing budget eats and showing you the hacks that I would be doing if I were, you know, trying to basically be very, very penny thrift. So this is canned sardines and smoked soybean oil, and then this is mackerel fillets in olive oil. And I feel like I might just go in with both of these since they don't have conflicting flavors. Let me just check my other canned fish. See what I got. Oh, okay. We also have this, which is lemon and extra virgin olive oil. So yeah, why not? I might go in with all 3 of these. So to give you a price rundown, I only buy these when they're on sale for about $1 at the supermarket. This one was definitely $1. This one was at Lidl, so this might have been even cheaper because I don't think I would have bought it for more expensive. And this one was probably a little bit more expensive. I think this was like $1.79 because it's mackerel and it's, I guess, more expensive than sardines, and also packed in olive oil instead of soybean oil. So yeah, the calorie count on these is 220 for this, so I'm gonna assume similar. So probably about 600 to 700 calories in 3 cans. Probably at least 300 calories is from fat, which means there's at least like a tablespoon and a half of oil in here, which isn't a lot, but we'll just drain off the oil and see what we have to cook with. And I'll be blanching the kale in the meantime. We're gonna start blanching the stalks first. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best to give you my cooking methodology, but since I don't have energy to really do edited stuff, this is the next best thing that is manageable for me. And thank you for tuning in. Happy Sunday, y'all. Happy Sunday. This kale has been just like sitting in the sink while I've been out all day, so hopefully the grit has fallen away for now. Usually I don't like to cook kale stems, especially the like really thick part of the kale, but because we're going in the Instant Pot, I think they'll be actually really delicious. I've peeled away the really outer toughness on most of these, so hopefully they won't be too fibrous, but kale stems are kind of just like broccoli stems. They feel very creamy when cooked down enough, so as long as I am Instant Potting it, that steam pressure will do the job, I think. And I'm really only going to chop the stems very finely, not the leaves, because the Instant Pot really kind of creams it down. So the stalks are the only thing that I don't want huge chunks of. The kale leaves will basically just kind of disintegrate texturally, hopefully. I'm actually really surprised that my energy is still holding up after being out for 7 hours. I think I left my house at around, actually no, I've been out longer because I went out at around 10 to walk a friend's dog. Then I went to the farmer's market, so that was 1 hour. Then I sat out at 11 to walk to the thrift store, meet up with friends. We thrifted, we ate, and then I thrifted some more, and then I walked back. So I've been active today for 8 hours almost. So we'll see. I'm hoping that I won't have an energy crash. And yeah, I'm blanching the kale mostly to reduce the volume so that I'm not trying to like ram everything down in the Instant Pot, because I don't know if you can see, the kale is very voluminous. It's like a huge batch of it. All of this for $4, but it's gonna cook down. And so I really want to like have it cooked down for the Instant Pot. That's one reason. The other reason is I believe kale, along with like a lot of other dark greens, have, why do I keep forgetting the name? They have a natural chemical in it that can be hard to digest for folks with kidney issues, and I don't have a flare-up, thank God, right now, I don't think, but I have a history of autoimmune kidney disease, which doesn't go away, so I'm just trying to like low dose it as much as possible, which is why I am blanching it first. Reduce the volume, reduce the triggery chemicals. They could be like oxalates, or there could be other things in dark green vegetables that I don't remember. It might be like getting rid of some potassium too, which folks with kidney disease should consume less of. Kathy, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling well. Yeah, I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do a live today, but I really wanted to meal prep, even though I'm pretty tired. So I figured as long as I'm meal prepping, I might as well turn on the camera. And also, I just really want to show you guys the food that I bought today. So I met up with my friend Nez and her partner Mark, and then we went thrifting. And then after thrifting, we went to this vegan place called Seitan's Helper. That's spelled Seitan. Seitan is a vegan meat substitute, I guess you could say, the OG one before Impossible. And we bought a sandwich, and we bought a wrap, and I unfortunately could not finish both at the time because I have been known to energy crash when I eat too much in one sitting. So because I wanted to make sure I made it home, I saved my wrap. I finished the sandwich half, but this is the wrap. This is called Hellfire, and it is like a chicken wrap, or like a seitan chicken. So it's not real chicken; it's a vegan chicken wrap. And Nez also brought some kibble for my cat Memo, who has not been eating well at all this week. So yeah, I am looking forward to just eating this. And also I bought from another restaurant in the area kita bread. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's spelled Kita. It's an Ethiopian bread. It's from a vegan Ethiopian restaurant called Bana Cafe. That's spelled Bunna, Bana Cafe. And I had their kita bread last year when we were out to celebrate Nessa's birthday, and I have not been able to stop thinking about that bread. So on my way back home, I asked them if I could purchase 2 for takeout, and they said yes. And so I got 2 kita breads. And so this has obviously been sitting in my backpack for like 3 hours now, but pretty convincing. So these little bits are the seitan bits. They're basically wheat gluten, so if you're gluten sensitive, not a good option for you. Mmm. Wow. This tastes like Big Mac. It has nice big pickled red onions. I don't know how they made the dressing, but it tastes exactly like Big Mac sauce. That's amazing. You didn't miss much, Gary, don't worry. And you didn't get a notification because I didn't schedule it today. I was just like, go live. So the stems are in there, and since Memo has left us for now, I'm going to pivot this back. And I like to have the stems cooked down as much as possible, so I'm just going to start chopping some leaves here. I'm going to reach from the bottom of the bowl where it's been immersed in water. Just give them all a turn. I really didn't want to cook tonight, especially because I'm probably not going to eat any of this tonight, but I don't know if you know, but once you cut into kale, it smells like farts. So my entire apartment kind of smells like farts. Memo also pooped while I was away, so my apartment definitely smells all sorts of shitty right now. So I didn't want this fart smell to linger much longer. Kale doesn't smell as bad after you've cooked it, but it smells so bad after you cut it and you leave it cut raw. So that's just another reason for why I really wanted to cook today. I also like blanching because it gives me another opportunity to kind of like sift out any grit, hopefully. I unfortunately did not get kale from my favorite stand today because my favorite stand did not have kale today. So I got it from the next one over, and the man was very nice. I ended up buying way more beets than I anticipated, and unfortunately I was like $2 short. And I was like, I'm so sorry, can you just remove half of the beets? And he was like, pay me back next week. And I'm so not used to that kind of thing. That kind of thing has only happened at the farmer's market. Like, try that at a store. I don't know which store in New York City will be like, yeah, just pay me back next time. So that was really lovely. I'm not going to overcrowd that. But I will get some water. Shall we eat our vitamins today? I'm going to go with my C, my G, because it's been cloudy all day, and some zinc. So anyway, I thought maybe I'll save some of this for tomorrow, but the wrap is like disintegrating really fast. But it is delicious, I am happy to report. It was not cheap. We got one sandwich and we got one wrap. Obviously enough to kind of like feed all three of us. And it was, I think, around $30 without tip. So I guess as far as New York prices, it's fine. But, and I also don't eat out a lot, but it's always kind of just like, wow. It's a lot of money to eat out. Hi, Mama. I put down a towel for him because he really likes to sit there and it's really cold on the floor. And I have a feeling it's not good for his stomach to be sitting on cold. Maybe it's just like the Asian mom in me, but I tried to make it warm for him. But I've put a bed there before and I've put a cat rug down there before and he never sits on them. He's even avoiding the towel. He was using it yesterday though. He didn't eat a single thing all day. I left him a churro treat. I left him a can of Friskies. I left him 2 dried foods, some freeze-dried chunks. But he did poop when I left. And he only ate like 3 kibble when I stepped through the door. So, I don't know. Sometimes I leave and he eats all the food, and sometimes I leave and he touches none of the food. I don't think it has anything to do with me. I think it's just whatever he's feeling. He's feeling. And yeah, I don't know why, but I really wanted kale this week. So I've been trying to lean into my hunger signals, my desire signals a little bit more, so we'll see. Don't know if it's good for me, but can't be that bad. I think most importantly, I should just get used to rotating different veggies in and out, and not let one kind of take the reins too long. My theory on why he likes to sit by the fridge is that when the fridge is humming, it feels like a purr machine to him. That's my theory. I do feel like lately he's gotten more comfortable at being in the kitchen when I'm streaming. I feel like, you know, I've had him since last June, and he's never really been present for the streams. But it seems like he's okay being here now, so that's cool, I guess. I love it. Not sure, like, I'll lust after it, but I think it's money well spent, which is always a nice surprise in New York. I feel like sometimes you spend a lot of money on food and you're just like, I could have done better myself. As I was walking home, it was about 4 p.m. The sun started like really just disappearing. And by the time I got home, I honestly thought it was already 7 p.m. But it turns out it wasn't even 6 yet. And so I guess this is just winter. I thought a little bit about cooking all of this tomorrow too, but between the fart smells and knowing that every time I've procrastinated on cooking on the weekends, it has caused me to like not eat vegetables for 3 days into the week, I just decided, knowing my own patterns, this was probably the best way to go. What I really should have done was defrost the pork feet yesterday. Like that would have been delicious with the kale and would have given it a lot of fat, but I didn't do it, so we'll have to wait. Oh no, who passed away? Sorry, I am going back into the chat to read. Well, he has stopped using the tree. I don't know. He's only on the bed and the sofa now. I think he's a human. He doesn't like the cat things. He doesn't use a scratcher. He scratches the mattresses. Whatever. I've given up. Oh no, sudden kitty death. The kale was $4. It was a whole bunch from the farmer's market. He's pawing at the kibble. Oh, perilous rainbow. I guess your kitty went the way my mom did. I've been thinking a lot about how, like, my mom passed away. I feel like now it has been 4 years. The more time goes on, the more I'm like, man, maybe that was a nice way to go. All things considered. Especially, I know it's tragic because she had so much more she could have done. But also just seeing, like, the state of the world and the state of the United States, I'm like, I don't know if mom would have handled this well. This whole kind of, like, unmasking of reality. Because I think she was especially protective of, like, right and wrong and justice and whatnot. I am curious. I'm always curious, though. Every day I'm curious. I'm just like, what would mom think and do in this time? I wonder. I don't know if I did a poor job washing this kale or if it just wasn't gritty to begin with, but there's almost no grit at the bottom of the rinsing pot. I'm kind of scared of what that means, but whatever. Garlic time. I'm thinking since I have so much garlic and they're probably gonna go bad if they haven't already. They look like they might have. Oh yeah, they've already started going bad. Okay, well we'll just use as many as we can. I was also thinking as I was walking through the supermarket today, a lot of people asking me like how they deal with low budget times. And I know it's not like great and ideal, but sometimes when you go for the cheap stuff, you end up getting spoiled stuff because things spoil. And sometimes they're spoiled too much and you shouldn't use them, but sometimes I think they're okay to use. And I think knowing what you can salvage and what you can't salvage is a huge part of eating on a budget, living on a budget. I know people don't want to hear that because it's sad, and Americans, I feel like in particular, are so scared to use things that are past the expiration date and whatnot. But like, for me, I just chop off most of the stuff if it looks questionable and carry on. Like, the rest of the clove looks fine to me. What I might do actually is like prep all of the cloves now so that I kind of detach them from the source of the rot. Even if I don't use them, I can make sure that they're cleaned, and then I will just fridge them, and hopefully that will encourage me to use them in a more timely manner anyway. My hands are gonna smell terribly garlicky. Terribly garlicky. I probably should have cut that apple before I started the garlic prep, but it is too late now. Everything is too late now. But I think all I can tolerate is one head of garlic in the kale. So I'm just going to go ahead and start cooking in the Instant Pot now and prep the rest of the garlic later as that is underway. Okay, so here's all the garlic that we have. Ooh. We're gonna do the saute function, and we're going to, I have you here because the phone has to charge, but maybe I can move you closer to the action. Boop. I was also thinking of putting the sweet potatoes in here. I wonder if that will be weird. Maybe that will be weird. Maybe we won't do that. But yes, let's go in with our fish oil. Oh, that's a lot of oil from one can. Wow. That's definitely 2 tablespoons at least. Just from the mackerel can. That might be all we need, actually, to get this started. We'll see. Is it fishy? Kind of, yes. I'm sure we can add some ingredients, like smoked paprika. I'm adding in some smoked paprika. Oh, I think I just finished my smoked paprika. Okay, that was not expected. Then some cumin, obviously. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, I'm so weak. Wow, why am I so weak? Okay. Some coriander. And, garlic. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. I also want a little bit of oregano. And since I'm still trying to finish out these, or just that one actually, the green tikka masala. Yum. And black pepper. A little bit of toasted onion. All in. Okay. that I could lift all of the fond. Sometimes the Instant Pot can burn really easily if you don't make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom before you start pressure cooking it. So that is all in now. Okay, the kale is all in. I'm going to just keep letting it simmer. And I think I want the sweet potatoes in there. So I'm gonna wash it and chop it. I will peel it. Sometimes when I roast a sweet potato, I'll eat it with the skin on. But since it's going into the kale, I do not want the skin. This is mostly to give myself a little bit of like sweetness in the dish. Also some nice melty carbs. I could get mushified in there. I think it'll make it a more fulfilling dish because I wish I had chickpeas, but I don't. I wish I had lentils, but I don't. I pretty much only have soybeans, which I don't really want in there. They don't really ever get mushy the way lentils and chickpeas do. They only get soft and sad. So not an ideal legume for this purpose. But I might cook up like a block of tofu and just add it into the kale dish after it's done. I didn't like how the Instant Pot tofu tasted last time. It like changed the texture of the tofu and made it really sad for me. I'm sure it would have been fine in another application where you wanted that kind of texture, but I did not want that texture. And so I'm not going to Instant Pot the tofu. But I would probably add either canned sardines or tofu per serving of this kale throughout the week as I eat it, just for a little protein. Because as is, there's not protein in there right now. So, if we're discounting ingredients, then the sweet potato is 80 cents, the kale was $4, the canned fish was about $1.79, so $2.60, $6.60. So this pot is currently $6.60 plus, you know, the cost of spices, and 20 cents of garlic. maybe that's like an $8 pot right now. And then if we add on a canned fish, that'll be another $1 per serving. If we add on half a block of tofu per serving, that'll be like 60-70 cents. So if I can make this meal stretch 4 days, that's about $3 per serving. Or $3 per day. I guess I don't know how long this is gonna last. Okay, that's a lot of sweet potatoes for 80 cents. This is a big bowl. It's like, all right. Right now, the Instant Pot is about half kale. I actually think it can probably take on even more garlic. It definitely needs salt, that's for sure. I think instead of salt, I'm gonna give it some seaweed. I wonder. This is really salty seaweed. It has salt in it. This fridge was open all the entire time. So I'm gonna take off some and chop it on the board because they're really long strings. And I might have to rinse it a little bit because I think this might be too much salt. Do you see all that white stuff? That's all salt. Let me just rinse it in the kale water real fast. Ooh. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of Martha's beef and lamb because I really do just like the spice blend in here. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to add I'm gonna add this Martha blend, the pork and poultry, because it's Thanksgiving coated. It has like sage, oregano, rosemary, some ginger, black peppercorns, and I think it'll go nicely with the sweet potatoes. I'm also getting into the sort of holiday vibe of it all, I think. Or trying to, at least. Alright. I'm gonna add a little more garlic, since I know we're gonna have to use up these fairly quickly. So. thinking I should also add a little pat of butter in there just to give it some kind of additional support. I'm not feeling so strongly about using the sardines because I think the mackerel can go in there. It's a different texture of fish, but the sardines might not hold up as well. So, and I also don't want to overwhelm it with too much fishy vibes. Okay, that's a lot of garlic, y'all. So that's probably at least a tablespoon of butter. Let's go for another half. Okay. I think I'm satisfied. I love the smell of butter. Giving it a stir so everything's kind of combined more or less evenly. And I'm going to try to give a little taste test on the kale to see how seasoned we are. Okay, I think the salt is there. I do want like a slight splash of acidity. Maybe a little sumac. I have a lot of sumac. And I want potentially a little spice, like actual chili spice, so I'm gonna add in some smoked chipotle because we ran out of the smoked paprika. So this will give it both more smokiness and more spice. I'm satisfied with that. We're gonna manual it for 12 minutes, and I'm hoping 12, maybe, I think 12 is gonna be enough. Oh God, the mackerels, wait. I gotta put the mackerel in. I want the fish to cook in there. Contrary to the tofu, I've discovered that I really like the texture of cooked canned fish. Can you believe it? But it has to be this like flaky white kind of canned fish. So what I'm actually gonna do, because I want to get everything out, is I'm going to add a little bit of liquid in the smoked paprika, pour it in here. We're gonna rinse out all the flavor and get it into the pot. Okay. Now we're ready for that to cook. We finished 2 spices today. Wonderful. And I'm gonna bring in the chair so I can sit. We're gonna eat some food, drink some water, do a little bit of garlic prep and cleanup, and I'm gonna catch up on your chat. Wow. Okay, scrolling up. Wow. Only after I sit do I realize how tired I am. All of my organs are just like sinking into the gravity now. Boop, 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 boop. Wow, you guys talked a lot. Okay, it's gonna be a while. I actually just had a conversation with my dad on the phone, and he was like, people always thought that, America's better than China, but now they can see that it's not really like that. He says that basically America is very reminiscent of China, like the criticism that China's been going through about corruption and all of that, lack of freedom of speech and all of that. And he's almost kind of just like, see, I told you, it's not China, it's just like human nature. I agree. American recipes that call for 2 to 3 cloves of garlic and think that's a lot. When I worked at Delish, all of my recipes featured at least 5 to 6. Hi, Memo. 5 to 6 cloves. But every other recipe was like maxing out at 3 to 4 cloves, and I'm like, what is happening? This is supposed to be the extra garlicky stuff? Does anyone else have this like guilt trigger? I feel like every time Memo meows at me, he wants something from me. I think he's teaching me a lot about my like anxiety disorder or anxious attachment. I just feel like people always want something from me, and I always have to serve them. And when he meows, I always worry that he's telling me something about what he needs. But maybe he's just saying hi, you know? Jonathan, this could be your shirt. Who knows? I thrifted this shirt. It could have been yours. Maybe it's like, did you donate it? What happened to your shirt? Wouldn't that be funny if I ended up wearing one of my viewers' shirts just randomly? Perilous Rainbow, I would also read that blog, but no pressure, because people ask me to blog and video all the time, and I keep saying no. But that sounds delightful. I also have a bunch of cookbooks that I've never cooked from, and I also have been thinking maybe I should do a live series where I cook through each cookbook. But I think that was something that I wanted to do maybe before Mom died. Sweet potato with the skin on is supreme sometimes. Sometimes it gives me the worst gas. The worst gas. And you hate cooking sweet potatoes because you don't have the right knife. Even that plastic cleaver that I just used was not strong enough. But if I used a meat cleaver, no brainer. Would have been like so swift. I think you just need the right knife that gives you the right balance and distribution of weight. Most blades are not thick enough, most blades are not heavy enough, most blades are not ergonomic for things that are as sturdy as sweet potatoes and squash, for example. Like butternut squash, so hard to cut. American food is really tough to eat beautifully. Wraps fall apart. Sandwiches and burgers fall apart. Salads, I look like a monster trying to eat them. Bechamel macaroni with broccoli on the side. That's where I am in the comments. Sounds delicious. Yeah, the chat screen on full screen, the first time I screenshotted that and posted it on Instagram, Aaron was like, oh, you're on Twitch. And I'm like, no, that's YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead in the comments because I feel like I'm too far behind now. I'm gonna be done with my wrap before I finish the comments. This is thrifted, of course. I have so many tiny glasses. I've had to stop myself from buying more. I don't know what these are, but they look like baby bacon bits, the pink stuff. Memo is a stereotypical cat because he loves the smell of fish, but when I offer fish to him, he never wants it. And unfortunately, I've been traumatized because the amount of times that I've fed him like human canned fish and it's resulted in vomiting, I just can't chance it anymore. He doesn't have an electric blanket, he has a self-heating pad on the bed and he likes to cozy up on that. I also have my college suede fleece like kind of bunched up in one corner of the sofa. He likes to nap on there too. And then he likes to nap on my blankets when I'm gone. Just a little guy looking for food. Behind my chair. Yes, eat your kibble, please. Okay, I feel very satiated. That wrap was absolutely delicious. I'm going to smell my hands, wash my hands. I want to eat this apple so bad before I eat the other bread. I feel like I just ate a lot of bread and I feel like I need a break from carbs for now. I really like to eat my apples peeled, as in I like to taste the peel on its own. The quality of the peel tells me a lot about the apple. If they've been heavily waxed, if they're flavorless and just tough, if they're crispy, if they have floral notes. This one is actually very juicy. No. Kind of like a fruit punch. So I'm hoping that the flavor of this apple will be delicious as well. This is a ginormous apple. Bye, Amy. There were definitely cheaper apples, but these really caught my eye. Um, oh, was this where I put the garlic? Oops. I think that's where I put the garlic. Oops. I like unevenness. You see that like little dimpling almost? They look like pock marks almost. That's always a good sign for me on apples, especially when bought at the store. I like that uneven texture. Um, I like the coloration. It's got some yellows and slight greens with like shades of red, and it just feels nice and hearty. Mmm, yum. It reminds me of apple cider. Mm. This apple is so good that even though I unfortunately tainted it with the smell and taste of garlic, I continue to relish in it. That's how good this apple is. Do we think 12 minutes got the sweet potatoes cooked? I wonder. Wow. Have you ever just like sat down and like took 10 minutes to eat a ginormous apple? This apple is like half the size of my face. I look good, yeah. I also put on some blush, so that always helps things. I've been told I look tired when I don't put on any makeup before, and then when I've insisted that it's because I didn't put on makeup, they're like, no, that's not it. And I'm like, no, that's exactly it. Even just like a little blush makes a huge difference on a face. And I don't think people realize that. It is. It is apple with a capital A. Yeah, this apple is 445 grams, which is basically a pound. This is a 1 pound apple. Which means, because I got 3 for $2, that these apples are like about 70 cents per pound, which is a great deal. Tips for eating persimmon. Please wait for it to go soft and mushy. Please wait for it to look like almost it's rotting through before you eat it. I don't know what kind you have. Some are okay when they're crunchy. Some are not okay when they're crunchy. I would recommend that you wait for one to at least be the way that a ripe avocado feels. So if you press, your finger should sink in a little bit. If you press and your finger is like not making a dent at all, please don't eat that. That's not ready to eat yet. But the longer you wait, the sweeter it'll be. It'll also turn mushy. So some persimmons, depends on the variety. Some are edible when they're crunchy, like an apple or a pear. Some are not. But all are edible when they're mushy and almost rotten looking. Yeah, it's just a little bit of blush, and in fact it's the same tube of blush that I've been using since I filmed Budget Eats. It's a Maybelline lip and cheek tint that I grabbed off of the Hearst free table in like 2020. So science has clearly gone too far. The moment we made pills for men to have boners when they can't get it up, I think is when we like went too far. I was thinking today, the main thing about budget eating is that you have to confront a new reality that you can't, unfortunately, buy everything you want all the time anymore. I don't know, I just think about sometimes like I see friends and their spending habits, and I find out later or sometime that they're still in debt or whatever, but they're still spending money like they have savings and no debt. And I know this sounds extremely judgmental, and maybe it is, but it's also just like a cultural difference. I was brought up with Chinese immigrant parents. We did not spend money that we did not have, period. So yes, treat yourself, but like there's a trade-off to treating yourself when you don't actually have that money to spend, which is debt and the stresses that come with that debt. So you just have to realize that like, unfortunately, we live in a shitty place where we can't afford happiness and comfort all the time. So I think growing up, my defense mechanism was to acclimate myself fairly quickly to what I can afford and find joy in that. I think for people who were brought up differently, they find the act of not being able to buy everything they want like a painful deprivation. For me, it's turned into like a game. I've gamified poverty in a lot of ways. I don't think I'm poor anymore, but I think I'm poor up here. So I don't spend money the way that maybe I should, that maybe my mom was telling me to spend money before she died. Because I grew up in a way that like spending money like that just doesn't even feel fun to me sometimes. So I think we're all programmed a little differently too. I think, you know, if this is like new to you, to having to budget and not being able to afford some things, like that's gonna feel way worse than if you were brought up not being able to afford a lot of things. But I also think it differs from person to person. I think if someone were brought up in the same economic status that I was, maybe they don't feel this way. Maybe this is just like my variant of it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's just kind of like, sometimes just only buy the things on sale and see what happens. See if you can tap into like difference as exciting, fun learning experience rather than difference as kind of demotion. Hello, Koreatown, LA. I mean, therapists get paid big bucks to make it into the shame portion of people's brains, so you're welcome. This is now budget, not therapy, for the legal purposes of not getting sued, but yeah, I don't even eat meat that much. I eat it like 4 times a year. So again, it's like, it doesn't feel like deprivation to me to eat on a budget because I'm so used to eating this way. I think for a lot of folks, they're panicking because they feel deprived. And it's that psychological taking away of what they're so used to having that is causing this kind of like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna live? Oh no, I'm so sorry about your sore throat. Is it COVID? Excruciatingly sore throat sounds like the razor variant of COVID. Oh my gosh. I hope it's not. I also hope you find some relief. Yeah, that sucks. Sore throat is possibly, I think it's like earth-shattering cough and then sore throat and then like painful whole body aching fever. Those are my top 3 most dreaded illness symptoms. And I didn't include vomiting in there because I haven't vomited since the 4th grade, but that would be up there too. Looking back, I dated people who could not survive one meal without meat, and I'm just like, what was I thinking? I guess I really was so naive and like optimistic. I know it's weird to call myself optimistic, but I was so optimistic that like none of these lifestyle habits a partnership that I could just be like eating my own thing and living in my own lane, and then they would be living in their own lane and eating their own thing. But over time, I find that if you don't have a lot of intersecting habits, it's rough. Interesting. Yep. Latin checks out for me too. This apple was a meal. What a delight. All right, it's time to prep our garlic. So So let's do that. This might be the wrong crowd to ask since we're also budget conscious, but has anyone seen Begonia yet? All of my friends who have seen it think that it's their favorite Yorgos Lanthimos. Whose movies I started to like less and less, honestly, over time. Ever since he got like mainstream big in the US, I think my last favorite movie from him was The Lobster. That remains one of my personal favorites. But I think I'm also just sick of seeing Emma Stone, honestly. Like, all the time. She's in all his movies because I think she's his muse. But man, do I wish there were someone different. Okay, somebody saw it. I really felt very meh about Poor Things. Like, the first half of it was so over the top. And then I turned around, but I don't know, aesthetically, I just hated the look of it too. It's just too colorful. Everything was too much. But I did like Kinds of Kindness more, which I don't think a lot of people liked. I think a lot of people like Poor Things. Not a lot of people like Kinds of Kindness. A lot of people like The Substance. I really didn't like The Substance. I mean, I like the metaphor of the substance. I just thought the movie was like boring. Like it was no, it was how do I say this? I know she like framed it and marketed it as like a pastiche or a parody or like whatever satire, whatever it is that paid homage to like tropey things, but it was all tropes. I felt like there was almost nothing original in there. I thought the acting was again over the top. I'm just so tired of this like pastiche sort of acting. Um, was it a book first? Poor Things? See, I really only like the Yorgos movies that he wrote. I think Begonia he wrote. I'm not sure. But I think it was also based on a Korean movie, so it's not like original to him either. Um, I thought by the time we got to the scene where Demi Moore was like cooking like a witch and throwing organs into the pot and things were splattering everywhere, I was just like, oh my lord. This is like a live version of a Disney movie. Like a live action version of a Disney movie. I just really wasn't feeling it, man. But everybody loved it, you know, and that's really what shocked me. There's no shortage of like mediocre meh films, but the fact that it got so much acclaim, I was just like, really? This one? And everybody said it was like a timely movie, and I was like, yeah, but we've been living this reality for so long now. You still need this? Yeah, I'm talking about the substance now, and yes, Emma Stone was in Poor Things too. Demi Moore was in The Substance. I mean, maybe it is brave for someone in Hollywood to do it, because it's kind of like the unacknowledged elephant in the room for everyone in Hollywood, but this felt really out of touch. For those of us who cannot even dream to afford plastic surgery of any type. But it's true, like if you pay attention to all the celebrities now, they pretty much all have work done. I feel like I can count on one hand the number of celebrities I've seen who have not had plastic surgery done in the last 5 years. And even the men have started getting plastic surgery, which is like really kind of a sign of the times, I think. Alright, I know it is really cold now, and the kita that I got from Bunna Cafe won't be as buttery and luscious and crispy and delightful and doughy and beautiful as when it was fresh, but I still want to try some with y'all now, and that's what I'll do. And the Instant Pot just decompressed, so perfect. Here is our garlic. We'll put it in the fridge. Okay. Bana Cafe. Vegan Ethiopian restaurant. Only on the weekends for brunch do they have kita. And I got takeout. This was $2 a piece. I got 2, so 4 plus tax. This is what they look like. It's just a flatbread. It's like, oh god. Nothing, oh my gosh. Okay, I think the foil is messing up the lighting. Nothing major, right? And it's like really condensed now, but imagine it warm. It's fluffy. It smells like it's been made with coconut butter. Like not just coconut oil, but coconut butter. And it's like many layered. Wow. It's good even when it's cold. I probably should have gotten this for grandma. If I had thought about it. This she probably could have still chewed. It is still good cold. It's just like sweet almost, but barely. Wow. I love this. I love this texture. It's kind of like a roti. Flaky, buttery layered. I don't know how else to say it. It's just like a dream carb. I'm going to eat some cheese because I have the kita and I have some pieces of the wrap still left, so I'm not gonna waste my carbs. I'm just gonna trim some of my cheese. The goat Gouda, by the way, started molding because I put it in a closed plastic container. I trimmed away the mold on the surface and I left the container open. So now what happens is there's less moisture being trapped, but also it dries out the cheese. You can see it's cracked, which means that I almost have like this goat manchego thing going, which is kind of cool. I basically have like a softer cheese on the inside where it's not been exposed to air, and then I have this like heartier, cracklier cheese on the outside that feels more aged, but it's just like dried, not really aged. Here we go. Nice little cheese wrap. Roti canai, exactly. But like coconutty, creamy, slightly sweet. And I think they make it in-house, so. True Life Story, welcome. You joined late. We talked about my meal prices for this week, but we just finished cooking. I'm gonna really recommend those of you who have a Trader Joe's near you, if you like cheese, this English cheddar with champagne is becoming one of my favorite cheeses from Trader Joe's. It might be limited, so check it out while you still have the time to do so. Okay. Cheese adventures are delightfully done. Now we will open the Instant Pot. And let's see if the sweet potatoes are cooked. Oh yes. Very soft indeed. Very soft indeed. I'm gonna let it cool off. A little bit. Ooh, hot. Then we can sample it. I am in Queens, and yes, I do like my area a lot. I can find a lot of good grocery deals. There's a lot of restaurants here, and even though I don't really eat out that much, it's got like all the pockets of cuisine. Malaysian, Tibetan, we have Colombian, we have Mexican, we probably have a lot of like other parts of Latin America than that I don't even, oh well, we have like, I think we have like Venezuelan arepas around. We have Greek in Astoria, Middle Eastern in Astoria as well, like Egyptian, Palestinian. We have Chinese, we have Thai, and this is all within 1 hour's walk from me. So I can walk easily to all of these cuisines. So yes, I do like this area. You technically, this sweet potato is perfect mush. You technically store cheese wrapped in like a layer of fresh parchment paper. That's how we did it when I worked in restaurants. But I don't want to use parchment paper. So I usually take it out of the plastic wrap because I think plastic traps too much moisture and sometimes it causes it to mold. If it does mold, I trim away the mold and I continue eating the block. If I close that plastic container, it molded. So now I just let it kind of like sit in a plastic container with enough air circulation, and it doesn't seem to mold. I put it in the cheese drawer, not in like just the openness of the fridge, which might have mold particles, by the way. So I try to like segregate it a little bit, but is it a hassle to get to other boroughs? It's always a hassle to get to Staten Island for sure. It's kind of a hassle to get to the Bronx via public transportation, but if you're driving, no. Brooklyn is walkable. I just walked to Brooklyn today. And Manhattan is also walkable, but I don't really like taking the Queensboro Bridge into Manhattan on foot because it's just a terrible experience as a pedestrian to walk on that bridge. You're kind of like side by side with speeding motorbikes who are not supposed to be on there and bikes, while the traffic is just going loud to your left. So I don't love it, but if I have enough energy, it's almost like a 2 hour and 40-minute walk through Williamsburg and across the Williamsburg Bridge. I like that walk. That gets you into Lower Manhattan, Lower East Side area. If you take the Queensboro Bridge into Manhattan, that lands you in Midtown, so like in the 50s on the east side. I can walk to Bushwick. I can walk to Greenpoint. I can even walk to Williamsburg. It's a little bit longer at 1 hour and 40 to Williamsburg. I have a harder time walking to Prospect Park. That's like a 3 hour plus walk. Definitely not walkable to Bay Ridge. That's like a 4 hour walk. Diker Heights, 4 hours plus. Sheep's Head Bay and Coney Island. My legs will probably break before I make it there. But you can take the trains. The trains, if they're working, if they're working is the key word here. If they're working. This lid is it's a viewer tip actually. You know the two handles right here? This part slots in to the handle hole. Ta-da! Either one actually. Ta-da! Viewers told me this. I didn't know. So now I am teaching you too. Oh my god, I love this flatbread so much. I cannot eat more carbs now. I just spat it out of my mouth, in fact, as I said it. But I will eat some kale and sweet potatoes, and hopefully I can reheat this tomorrow. My child is on the bedroom floor just staring at me when I walked in. I can't tell if he's disappointed in me or not. Okay, so this is how much food we made. This is about a $8 to $9 Instant Pot meal. Probably enough for 4 days of lunch. Very filling. Lots of kale, 2 sweet potatoes, 1 can of mackerel, 2 heads of garlic and spices. This is sitting at 6 cups of food. Maybe 7, because I don't know how to read the notches on the side. But very tender greens. Even the fibrous are soft. That's hot. Ow. That's probably gonna burn my tongue later. Oh, somebody's asked me questions. Yes, you can freeze certain cheeses, most cheeses. I've never freeze brie. I don't know how that would freeze. But I would recommend you like cutting it into serving sizes that you would like unfrozen at once before you freeze a whole block of cheese. Like if you go to Costco and you're buying a 2-pound block of cheese, you might want to cut that up and freeze them. It does change the textures on cheeses that have more moisture, like fresh mozzarella. But depending on your purposes for it, like if you're melting it anyway onto a pizza or in a lasagna, I don't think it would matter that much if it's frozen and defrosted. But it might taste kind of like weirdly wholly in a salad after it's been defrosted. Why do you avoid parchment? I just don't want to waste the parchment, like, because technically every time the parchment gets open, you should switch it because it introduces bacteria. I don't know, man. I just don't think it's necessary. Because I don't mind my cheese kind of drying out on the edges like that. In fact, I kind of like it that it dries out a little bit because it gives me a different texture of cheese. So I'm kind of a weirdo in that aspect. If you don't want it to dry out, you should definitely cover it with parchment. And switch it out once it gets too moist, because moisture will breed bacteria and mold. And cheese already has bacteria, so, you know, it's easy to get moldy. Today was actually just really windy. It wasn't cold yet. But yeah, once it gets cold, I don't know if I can. Cause then I just start losing feelings in my extremity, which isn't fun. What would I like to eat? I would like to eat. Yeah, so I technically haven't had much vegetables besides the slices of lettuce and tomatoes in my wraps and sandwiches. And I guess that huge apple. But I would still like to get some of this nutrient into my body before I go to bed today. I might also have a protein shake later. I'm pretty stuffed, but the protein shake almost acts like as a dessert for me, so that's nice. And I put some whole fat milk in there, which apparently helps you sleep because of the tryptophan. You know, the chemical that's in turkey that puts you to sleep after Thanksgiving meals. I actually started doing this because I keep going over to my friend's place. They have kids. They always give their kids like milk, a bottle of milk before they go to bed, I guess to help them sleep. And I was like, wait, I should do that for myself. I'm my own baby. Okay, 12 minutes was actually the perfect amount of time for the sweet potatoes because some of them still retain shape and some of them are not shapely anymore, and that's kind of like a perfect mix for me. So, yay. How do you guys stay active in the winter if you don't want to go outside in the cold? I used to be able to go to the gym. Now I don't have a gym membership anymore. Not because of like budget reasons. I think I can probably afford a budget gym, but I just don't want to be next to sweaty people who are unmasked the whole time. Just can't afford to put myself in a room with super oxygenation from potentially sickened bodies. because I don't have energy to cook them, I'm going to slightly scrub the beets and put them in the fridge for now. Mostly because my food is still too hot to eat. I don't know what the prices are for you guys, but I have 8, 9, 11. I got 11 beets for $5. Is that a good price? This is from the farmer's market too. I think I could have gotten it for 99 cents a pound instead of $2.50 a pound if I went to not farmer's market. Do you think I would do well in Ireland? I read this really sad article in The Atlantic about how, despite the fact that the Instant Pot is such a great invention, it's like, I think it's just declared bankruptcy and it's now owned by another subsidiary, as a subsidiary brand under another whatever, because they just couldn't, like, innovate more useless shit that people had no need for to maintain their position in the market. Because capitalism requires you to keep driving profit up, Instant Pot was such a good product that they really had no need to offer other products, and that's why it failed, because it was basically too good of a product. It doesn't break, it lasts forever, and you can't make any money off of that. How do I clean it? I mostly just rinse the lid and then I clean the insert and that's it. Is that like a lazy way to do it? Probably, but yeah, it's fine. Sometimes when I'm extremely lazy, I don't even rinse the lid because I just forget about it. And that's how my yogurts end up tasting like curry. Some people like to remove the ring and wash it because they say the ring is what retains the smell, which they're right about. I definitely smell more off of the ring. And I thought the ring was broken because my Instant Pot wasn't sealing, but it turns out if you don't have enough water and moisture in the Instant Pot, it won't create a pressure seal because there's really no steam being trapped in there. So really all I needed to do was make sure the ring was aligned in this metal ring before use, and that I had enough water in my recipe pot. And the metal insert pot is all that I clean, and it's easier to clean than like a stovetop pot. It's stainless steel. You can scrub the shit out of it with a scrubby, with a metal scrubby too. It won't really damage it. And yeah, it's just been so convenient for me because I love to eat mush. as you can see, we just made a lot of mush. Made more mush. Yeah, I spent 2 hours prepping, making the mush, fridging the mush, and then I have food for 4 days or so. Sweet potatoes are a carb, yes, but they're also a vegetable because they have fiber. So I guess I just mean I can't eat like refined carbs. I think I've reached my capacity for refined carbs for today because I've had sandwich bread that was on a hero roll, then I had a whole wrap. That's probably like 400 calories of just like refined carbs there. But I can eat like, I don't know, 100 calories of sweet potato because it has beta carotene and all the other good stuff. Indoor bike, treadmill. Yeah, I don't know about a treadmill. Maybe an indoor bike. I hate bikes though. I just don't like how they make my knees feel. I honestly think that I might have been born with some joint issues because my dad says that when I was born, one of my ankles was like flipped like this and they thought I was going to be a cripple when I grew up. But that turned out to be not the case. But I am very like inwardly pigeon-toed and I think my feet tend to pronate a lot. So there's definitely something off with my joints and now I'm really feeling it in my knees and hips. So maybe something about the exercise bike just isn't comfortable on my joints because my joints are fucked up to begin with. You don't have to be afraid of parchment, Gary. I just don't want to waste parchment, that's all. Memo came by earlier, but he's chilling in the bedroom and he doesn't seem to like me very much because I didn't offer him the fish. But unfortunately, human canned fish has a lot of salt. I think that makes him diarrhea. Even the ones packed in water have a lot of salt. The ones packed in oil also have salt and oil, which I don't think is good for him either. So I'm afraid to like make his IBD or whatever it is that he has worse. I feel bad. I really did want a trash cat who I could share food with. Like Fred was a trash cat. Fred would eat everything. But unfortunately Memo just has like the sensitive stomach of a princess. And yeah. What spices did you use in the kale? I used this pork and poultry blend from Martha Stewart. It has sage, black pepper, oregano, rosemary, ginger. I used coriander, cumin, smoked paprika. I used this green tikka masala, which has garlic, black pepper, cumin, curry leaves, ginger, and habanero chili. And then I used some smoked chipotle for a little bit of spice. So I use a lot of spices. And then I use 2 heads of garlic, if you count that as a fresh spice, I guess. So. Can't really taste the fish, but I can taste the seaweed actually. The seaweed flavor is very pronounced. I've discovered that my mush tastes usually 35% better the next day. So I'm very interested to see how the flavors melt into each other by tomorrow. The seaweed kind of is like a very pronounced oceany taste, which I'm not a super fan of. But it's not like disastrous. "12 minutes is great. The Instant Pot is very powerful, and I already cubed these sweet potatoes into like 1/2-inch dice. So I think 12 minutes might have even like done the whole beets properly, as long as there were enough steam power in there. Can I just get tryptophan injected to fix my bad sleep? I have a bad sleep schedule too. My question for you, person with bad sleep schedule, is when do you wake up? And do you go outdoors every day? And when do you go outdoors every day? Those 3 questions are my key questions, because I promised my friend that I would walk their dog every morning now. I usually wake up by at the latest 9:30, which is much better than what I used to do when I was in my really bad days, which was like 10:30, 11 sometimes. Then I would go out the door and hit their door by 10 to walk a dog for half an hour. The dog is small, it does not run, so it's a very chillaxed half hour outside with the dog just to get some sunlight and fresh air. And I have found that it has made me sleepy by now. Actually, 8:30. You can see me. I'm like getting sleepy now. So I usually try, and this is after, mind you, 4 years of bad sleep schedule ever since my mom passed away. I have spent 2+ years at least sleeping at like disastrously late times, like at 3 a.m. And it's not until that I've like tried to wake up at a normal early-ish hour that I feel compelled to sleep sooner. So it has to do with your rising time as well. It's not just when you go to sleep, it's a cycle. So it's like when you wake up as well. A shot of rye whiskey? Okay. Okay, Grandma. I really want a gym. I really want to go back on the elliptical. Honestly, that is the best machine. That is the best cardio machine for my joints. How much are the grocery prices in Australia? Yes, beets and goat cheese are amazing, but I need it to be fresh goat cheese with beets in a salad with walnuts and blue cheese too. Okay, sorry, too many cheeses. I would do beets and goat cheese in like a carrot salad, maybe like a roasted carrot salad. That would be good, like a warm salad. Then I would do some kind of dried fruit, like dried date, dried fig, blue cheese, arugula. Oh my god, I want that salad. $5 for 4 lemons. Oh yeah. Some of the bougie grocery stores in Manhattan will have those prices too. And farmers market eggs are $8 or $9 for 12 eggs now too. So hopefully good eggs. $50 for a carton of 24 soft drinks. Maybe just don't drink the soft drinks. I mean, that works out really well for your health too. $4.50 for a loaf of bread is pretty much prices here too. And I don't know if you're talking USD or Australian dollars. I don't know what the currency is. $7 for a pound of generic butter is on par to here. If you find it on sale, you can get it for $4 to $5 per pound. Trader Joe's also has it for $4 a pound, I think. But $7 a pound is pretty average for like normal, not sale price. They love a chump over there and not in a good way. Does that work in the opposite gender too? Do the men like a chump girl too? Because I feel like, you know, sometimes I think I'm a smart bitch, but I'm really not. And there's nothing like 2 years of Hinge dating that taught me that I am a bit of a chump. Those 2 years made me feel very sad and stupid. And borderline ashamed. Kale lentils, yeah. I really should have added some chickpeas or lentils in here. That would have made it, but I didn't. Thank you for your Australia visit offer. Does it have a more Indian flavor? Honestly, no. This green tikka masala I like because it doesn't have a strong quote-unquote Indian flavor. It's very garlic, black pepper, cumin, ginger. I don't really taste the curry leaves in here. It's more of like an herbal bay leaf, honestly. And then the spice from the habanero chili is very, very light. So this is why I like this one, because it doesn't have like a very curry forward, like an Indian curry forward flavor. For a period of about 6 months, I was on like a, what do they call it? Is it like a biphasic sleep schedule where you sleep twice a day? I went through, up until this month, I went through this cycle of like eating what I thought was a normal sized lunch, but it was too much for me, and I would have an energy crash because I think all of my like blood went to digest the food. Then I would need to sleep between like 3 to 5 p.m. or even 6. But I think that worked well because I wasn't getting enough sleep at night. So for several months, I was sleeping like from 3 to 8 or 9, 5 hours, 6 hours. And then I was sleeping again from like 3 to 6, so another 3 hours. So not great. I don't think my body liked that. But my body did like me making up hours of sleep in the daytime because I truly wasn't getting enough sleep at night. And I don't think it's entirely because my body wasn't able to sleep. I think it was like depression and psychologically induced self-indulgence that like really wasn't healthy. I just really didn't want to go to sleep. So then you have to tackle like the psychological aspect of why don't you want to go to sleep. Well, Karen, you are in the right state for cheese. Oh my gosh, please tell us what the prices are in Alaska. I'm dying to know what the price. I know that Hawaii and Alaska have historically been expensive, but I would love to know how expensive it is now. Is AUD more or less expensive than USD? What's the exchange rate? Growing your own fruit might be difficult to grow, but yes, possible if you have a backyard. Definitely not feasible on a balcony, I don't think. But yeah, herbs are really easy to grow. Veggies, you could grow. I tried to grow carrots and they turned out like this big, like literally a third of the size of my index finger. So I don't have a green thumb, unfortunately, even after going to farm school. I don't think I am talented enough, but I am good at following orders. So if any farmers out there want an apprentice, let me know. 1 kilo block of cheese is 6 USD. That's pretty cheap. That's 2.2 pounds for the Americans in here for 6 USD. So that's less than $3 a pound. I don't know what Lidl you're going to for $2.50 a pound butter. Damn. Is that in the States? What time do I normally eat dinner? I can eat dinner anytime between 5 and 8. I don't have like a set time because I don't have anyone to report to normally. But I would say 2 to 3 days out of the week, I can sometimes eat like a snack at 9 or 10. If I'm depressed, that might turn into like 5 days a week. But I really try not to eat too much after 8 because one, I have heartburn and digestive issues, so I'd really try not to eat too close to the midnight line. And two, usually if I'm like binging after 8 p.m., that's like an emotional need that I'm trying to fulfill. So it's a call in time for me if I find myself just... When I used to be more disordered eating, I would basically almost starve myself all day so that once I get home, I could like binge all the food and make up for it. And I think that used to be a comfort thing for me where I was just like, oh man, you've worked so hard. Wasn't that miserable? Now you get to enjoy yourself. Feast, right? And I think I was trapped in that really bad cycle for probably, I mean, like 8 years probably. Like most of my 20s. And it probably started in college because I used food as a way to kind of like procrastinate from doing my homework that I really didn't want to do. Writing papers especially gave me stress and I just really didn't want to do them. Then it got bad when I got out of college. I would use food as an emotional crutch and reward for myself. I definitely worked like too hard, I think. Working 8 hours in a restaurant and then going to tutor for 2 more hours after that. Basically working 10 hours. And then if you factor in like the 3 segments of commutes, that was like, I could be pulling like a 14-hour day. So yeah, I did that for 4 years, then I did restaurant work for another 2.5, and those were really economically rough times. Minimum wage at restaurants, sharing apartments with Craigslist roommates who like had all sorts of pet peeves and verbally abusive or even like physically threatening or psychologically draining traits and behaviors, and I think I was like really suicidal honestly at that point because I just felt like the city was really miserable. It was really hard to stay alive in it, and I wasn't even having the worst of it because every time in my 4-hour 3-part commute I would see other people on the streets, in the subways, like just totally floating by in society, you know, like unhoused, not sure where their meal's coming from, trying to panhandle, or just like totally pass out. New York City is so strange in that way. You have such a wealth disparity in every borough. And it's just sometimes a matter of crossing 10 blocks, or sometimes it's a matter of crossing 1 block, and you're just like, what happened here? Like, why are these people so much richer and more equipped? Makes no sense. My healthiest times are when I can wake up with the sun, which is why I don't have blackout curtains, even though I probably should, because my health is not great right now, so I should probably get all the sleep I can. but I have like a wake up alarm in Memo. He wakes me up 3-4 times throughout the night. So I've been getting crazy dreams because Memo just keeps interrupting my like REM sleep. But yeah, if I could get back to a place where I can fall asleep by midnight, meaning I get into bed by 10:30 hopefully, um, and wake up with the sun, that would be like a solid 7 hours of sleep. That would do it for me, honestly. I used to be pretty good on 7.5 hours of sleep. 6 used to be a little too little, and 8 was like great. But then as soon as I hit 9, that feels like sleep poisoning to me. So yeah, so your Australian prices that you listed aren't that outrageous, actually. Unfortunately, those are standard prices in New York City. I just happen to be really good at finding deals, I think, because it's like a hobby of mine now, I think. But I think most USD prices right now are more expensive than the Australian grocery store prices that you listed. Generic cheese, yes. Sometimes I can find generic cheese on sale for $2. Those are the types of cheeses that taste like rubber. I eat them, but they taste like rubber. But those cheeses are $2 for 8 ounces. That's half a pound. That's less than a quarter kilo. So even our cheapest generic cheese is 8 USD per kilo. I can sleep with a full stomach, but sometimes I start regurgitating heartburn, which is why I try to finish eating by 9 at the latest. But unfortunately, when I'm truly depressed and I use food as a coping mechanism, yeah, it's not great. When you're depressed, everything is just kind of off, and then everything that's off then feeds back into the depression, and that's how the negative cycle works. So I try to kind of just like be a little bit more in tune with my emotions now, and also to not put more guilt and shame onto myself when I realize that I'm using these mechanisms for coping. Um, yeah, my electricity price is insane. I have one apartment. I use the Instant Pot, I use the microwave, I guess I use the fridge, I use my Vitamix, I use the computer, and I charge my phone, and I use lights. I guess that's pretty normal, right? One apartment, one person household. The baseline is $75 without AC. Or anything else, really, besides like the basic necessities of a cat lady. When I lived with Aaron, both of us in the same household, and he played video games all day on his computer. We never hit 70. I don't pay for the dryer, like that goes to the building, I think, but I'm not sure. I wonder how electricity works. But I've read that apparently all the AI data centers, depending on where they've been placed, they've been driving the price of electricity up. So I feel like even though we're not technically in a socialist state, if what other companies are doing are affecting our base utility prices, that's kind of like a socialist move, isn't it? That's really nice. When you used to make food for the homeless, did you ever get people who like were angry at you for offering some stuff? Because I feel like I've given people stuff before and sometimes they're like, oh no, I can't eat that. Where they're like, I'm like, would you like X, Y, and Z? And they're like, yeah. And then I give it to them and they look at it and they're like, no. I think he's eating the wet food that's been out for the whole day. Why is he like this? Oh, right, true. This country does hate single people. You know, I gave it a good old college try. I don't know why that saying is like that, but I did. I tried to find myself a partner. It just didn't work out. And I'm not ready to try again in New York City. Honestly, this feels like a cursed city to date in. Cursed. And yes, I do know people who have like found their partners and gotten married, but I'm just like, I don't know. Are they like industry plans to keep the apps going? I feel like Zora Mamdani has been like a huge Hinge ad, right? What if that's a conspiracy theory? What if like Hinge paid for his campaign to win? We laugh now. Why does someone do that to your church? That's so much bad karma. That's awful. That's so terrible. Oh my god, that's awful. That's devastating. Do you remember the first period of time when they sent aid into Gaza and there were videos of all these like Israeli protesters who would not let the aid through and they were just like ransacking the aid trucks and like destroying the food rather than it reaching Palestinians? Like that. We've just been seeing an endless stream of nonsense. How awful it is that we would rather destroy things than let other people have it. Why? Listen, I think if we let my algorithm work its magic for 20 more months, not even 2 years, I could potentially be lesbian. Here's my take. I've been thinking about this a lot, y'all. I am, I would say, for the most part, theoretically asexual, right? I'm demisexual. If I have a strong emotional bond with someone and I feel like I'm secure with them and I can trust them and I admire them and I appreciate them and I fall in love with them, like, sure, I can become sexual. I think that because of my upbringing and most of the media serving like straight dynamic stories, that I have been primed to romanticize men. But now that I have actually experienced romance with men and like the disappointment that has unfortunately come hand in hand with my last few experiences with men. I don't know if the threshold I have for developing this romantic connection with men is achievable anymore, because I think it's just like gone up with every disappointment I've experienced. I feel like I'm open to being converted to more sapphic connections, but I honestly just, at this point, don't know if I want any of it. I'm tired. I'm really tired. Memo's making me tired. I have not read the story Nate the Snake. Nate the Snake. Let me Google that. Nate the Snake. I'll read it later. I really don't know if I can be a lesbian. But who knows? People have come out in their midlife stages. Who knows? Also want to know where else you would live. Listen, I want to live somewhere that's walkable. You guys can brainstorm for me, right? I have an international crowd. I would like to live somewhere that is walkable. At least 60% as walkable as New York City. I have been in places that are not walkable. I just feel depressed immediately because I think at this stage of my life, I am used to using my feet to get to places. And if I have to rely on cars, I can't do it. I don't want to drive. I know that I'm going to kill someone. If not just myself, then definitely other people too. When I'm driving, I don't want to drive. I feel like that is a death trap. I also don't want to have to rely on other people to drive me because I think that loss of sense of agency and ability to transport myself from place to place will be extremely depressing and debilitating in a self-esteem sort of existential way. I can handle public transportation. So if there's a decent train system, sure, give it to me. But I think for distances that don't require trains, I would like there to be like little shops, the way that, say, Astoria has little shops, you know. I want there to be like walkable grocery stores. I want there to be some sort of like a multicultural element to it. I don't mind like majority white or majority any other race or whatever ethnicity, but I want there to be some element of multicultural mixture. And like I've been so spoiled, guys. Literally food, grocery, culture are the three main tenets holding me in New York City outside of walkability. So I would say walkability, the multiculturalism, and the ability to access food at every single level of price point and just difference in flavor and culture is really hard to leave. I can leave it behind, I think, if I like fall in love or have a mission somewhere, but either a job or a project or like, I don't know, a commune or a farm. But other than that, I feel like I'm kind of trapped in New York City. But if you know somewhere in Europe or Asia, let me know. I don't think the US has a place like this. I've been told I should check out Chicago. So I guess I should go check out Chicago. I'm glad your garlic mashed potatoes turned out very good. I was gonna put some of my I have this like instant mashed potato flakes that I think I got from the Delicious Test Kitchen, and then I gave it to my mom because it was probably expiring. So this is definitely like a 5-year expired mashed potato flake. I really want to use it up before or on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna take it out and put it on the counter. I will promise myself to use it. I didn't like San Francisco. It felt so sterile. And the hills broke my foot. I swore I had a hairline fracture walking up those hills. I can't take those inclines. Those are intense inclines. LA, I got hit by a car my first day there. LA is definitely a no. Oakland, I actually enjoyed. All the Chinese bakeries felt very, very cozy and Chinatown-y and familiar, but Freiburg, all right. I'm gonna put this on a tab and check it out. But see, I just, I don't know. A lot of people told me not to walk in LA, and I'm just like, what do you mean? I can definitely walk as long as there's a street. I can walk. And yeah, I could walk. There were streets. But there's also pretty actor people who don't look at the road when their self-driving car decides to move forward into your knee as you're crossing the street on your green light. I considered Denver, but I was told Denver is very white. Like, very white. And I have a coworker who used to live in somewhere metropolitan California, and she says that she misses all the ingredients, food ingredients that are nowhere to be found in Denver. Toronto, yeah, a lot of Asians, I think, in Toronto, right? Or is that Vancouver? I can't remember. Cherry Coke is fake cherry. Cherry pie sometimes is also fake cherry. Like, have you ever bought the canned cherry pie filling stuff? That color of red is not natural. Cherry lollies and candies is also not real cherry. Why do you say I would do really well with the scene in Logan Square or Icker Park? Is that missing? Is it really called Icker Park? Wicker Park? But yeah, I have had a couple of my friends tell me that they could see me living in Chicago. Probably because some of Chicago is like New York. I ate most of the old stuff from my mom. Believe me, there's a lot. She left, and I gave away a lot. Like, I gave away all her pasta, all her rice, all her flour. That was a dumb move, but like at that point, I was still living with Aaron in 450 square feet, and there was nowhere for me to put any of that while still working for Delish. So I tried to give away as much of it as possible, and I really just kept like the most Chinese things that I feel like people probably didn't want to take on. Albuquerque, really? New Mexico, you don't need a car? I'm not thinking of moving. I just have some folks in the chat asking me where I would go. The truth is, no other American city can compare to New York. Right. This is also the center of capitalism, which is why it's so miserable. But you do have everything under capitalism. Everything. Toronto, okay. Toronto, got it. First of all, I am an absolute freak. If you've been watching me for 5 years, you are too. High five. And secondly, I'll probably put these in my next batch of kale. We'll see. Maybe by the next time you join me, they'll be gone and you'll never know where they went. Okay. All right, folks. Absolutely a delight hanging with you tonight. Thank you for joining me on this journey in our lives of absolutely bonkers shit in the 21st century, and I hope that you survive another week. Let me go see if we can find Memo. Maybe he wants to see us. Okay. Oh, it's dark. It's very dark. Oh, there he is. Oh. Memo. Hi. Did you enjoy your day alone at home? Do you hate me now? Did you like the kibble that Ness gave you? The same kibble that I bought a whole bag of that you refused to eat after I bought the whole bag of it? Can I pet? Can I pet? Oh, you're so soft. Is there anything you want to say to the people? Would you like to wish everyone a good week? Oh, you brought your kibble here. Did you bring those or did I put them here? Maybe I put them here. 2 kibbles. Emergency stash. Look. Look, there are people. Do you want to say hi to them? You have eye goop. You have eye goop, baby. Eye goop. Cleaning your eye goop. Okay, guess not. Alright, folks. We're gonna go offline. Yeah? No? You don't want to look at them? Okay. Alright.